Felicitous greetings, fellow fanatics. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Fanatic, and today we're taking a look at Mipmap's digital adaptation of Role Player, a min-maxing themed dice manipulation title by Thunderworks Games. Before we begin, please keep in mind that this is an early access title. As such, nothing herein is finalized, and anything seen is subject to change. But before we get started, what are some of your favorite memories of crafting characters for pencil and paper RPGs? Let me know in the comments, and then let's get started. In Role Player, you'll take on the role of a role player who's rolling up a new character, attempting to achieve the highest score possible in doing so. Although online multiplayer is not yet implemented, you can either use the game's pass and play mode to play with up to 4 players, including human or AI opponents, or you can use the game's official solo variant. When playing, each player will receive a typical fantasy race: humans, elves, orcs, etc. Humans are the baseline and have no effect, while any other race will gain 2 points to one stat but loses 2 in another. After that, you'll randomly receive a class card. In the physical game, these are double-sided. You may choose which one to take. For example, the green player may choose to play as either the ranger or the druid. Each class has its own unique skill on the left, and on the right you can see the values that they want each attribute at, as well as how many points you'll get for matching each of them at the end of the game. Every class can gain a maximum of 12 points this way, although the points aren't always evenly distributed. After selecting your class, you'll randomly receive an alignment and backstory card, which give you additional goals. Your character will always begin the game as true neutral, and you'll gain or lose points depending on your final alignment. Likewise, your background will have 6 spaces marked, which you can gain points for placing dice of the proper color in those slots. Each player receives 5 gold pieces to start. We'll be discussing those further in a little bit. After that, you'll take 6 to 8 dice at random, depending on the number of players, and roll them. Then arrange them on your player board. You can place them into any stat you wish, but that stat's spaces must be filled in from left to right. After all your starting dice have been placed, setup is finished and you're ready to begin. Every round of Role Player consists of 4 phases, beginning with the roll phase. The first player for the round will roll a number of dice equal to the number of players plus 1, then arrange them from lowest to highest. Colors don't matter for this phase, and the starting player decides how to arrange any ties. The second phase is the dice phase. Starting with the first player and going clockwise, each player will choose and assign 1 die. Lower dice are generally less desirable, but the player that takes the leftmost die will go first during the market phase for that round, so sometimes it can be advantageous to take it if there's a valuable item available. If die is neither the leftmost nor the rightmost die at the start of the round, then any player that takes it will also gain 1 coin. After choosing a die, it must be immediately placed on the player's board. As before, they can choose any attribute so long as there is an empty space remaining, but they must put it in the leftmost empty slot available. Depending on which attribute they choose, they'll have an optional ability that they may activate at this time. For strength, they may choose any 1 die on their board and flip it to its opposite side. Remember, on a proper d6, 2 opposite sides will always add up to 7. If they added a die to dexterity, they may choose any 2 dice on their board and switch their positions, but they maintain their values. If they chose constitution, they may either increase or decrease the value of one of their dice by 1. Dice have a maximum of 6 and a minimum of 1. They may not loop around. Next up is intelligence, which allows you to choose and re-roll 1 die on your board. You may either keep the new result or change it back to its original value. After that, we come to wisdom, which allows you to move your alignment 1 space orthogonally. And finally, we have charisma, which gives you a charisma token. This gives you a discount during the market phase, but must be discarded if it's not used by the end of the round. Additionally, if you place a gold die, you'll take 2 coins. If you fill the last space of an attribute, you'll take 1 coin. If both of these happen at the same time, you'll get both bonuses and take 3 total. After everyone has taken their turn in the dice phase, you'll move on to the market phase. In order of initiative as determined by the dice chosen during the previous phase, players will each choose 1 card from the market. They may either discard it to gain 2 coins, or they may purchase it for the price listed in the top right corner. If the card has an arrow by its price, then when you purchase it, you must move your alignment marker in that direction if possible. Market cards come in 4 varieties. Armor exists in 3 sets, and depending on how many cards you collect from each set, you'll gain VP at the end of the game. Additionally, you'll gain an extra point if you have any pieces from the set that matches your class color. Weapon cards have passive effects, but you may only equip 2 hands worth of weapons, and some weapons will require both hands. If you ever have more hand icons than hands available, you must discard weapons until you're back to the limit of 2. Thirdly, you have traits. These are passive effects, many of which provide additional scoring opportunities. And finally, you have skills. To activate a skill, you must move your alignment marker in the appropriate direction. If you cannot do so, you may not use that skill. Once a skill is used, it's exhausted. In the physical game, you would rotate the cards, but here they'll be faded to show that they're exhausted. If a skill does not specify when it may be used, then it may be used at any time, even during another player's turn. After every player has taken a turn during the market phase, you'll move on to the cleanup phase. This time, any remaining charisma tokens and cards in the market are discarded, as is the unclaimed die. Players may each refresh a single skill card so it may be used again. Market refreshes with a number of cards equal to the number of players plus 1. After that, the player to the left becomes the new start player for the next round, and play continues like this until each player has filled in their board with a total of 18 dice per player. The digital version of Role Player allows the option of playing with AI opponents. There's only one script for the AI itself, but you can give AI players certain handicaps to increase the difficulty. However, the physical version included rules for a solo variant, and this is recreated in the digital version as well. When playing solo, you'll set up as though playing a 2-player game. The main difference comes in the market phase. If you chose the leftmost die during the dice phase, you'll be able to purchase a card from the market unimpeded. If you chose the middle die, you'll roll a d6. On a 1, 2, or 3, the dummy player discards the first, second, or third card in the market respectively before you have a chance to purchase. If you roll a 4, 5, or 6, you don't have to discard any of them. If you chose the rightmost die, then the dummy player will discard no matter what you roll, and the die only determines which card they're discarding. Aside from that, all other rules are the same. Once all is said and done, you'll total up your points and be given your final score, along with a ranking depending on how well you did. All in all, Role Player is a faithful recreation of its tabletop counterparts. Everything from the base game is in there, and it plays just as fans expect it to. The UI doesn't quite look like the player boards in the physical version, but I actually consider this to be a boon. They've rearranged and resized things to fit on the screen, and even added outlines to the dice spaces to match the colors required to score your background. The UI takes advantage of the digital space while still remaining true to the gameplay. The game is currently in early access, but honestly, the only thing that really seems to be missing at the moment is online multiplayer, and maybe the option for some house rules, such as letting you choose your class instead of picking it at random. Obviously, playing with other players is always a major component of tabletop games, but if you just want to play locally or simply want to play by yourself, you'll find the game is pretty much feature complete as is. As this is still an early access title, I'll not be giving Role Player a formal review score at this time, but if I was, I would expect a high 7 or a low 8. What I can say is that it's shaping up to be an excellent port of an already solid tabletop game, and I'm excited to see what else Mipmap might bring to the digital sphere in the future. Role Player is currently available for PC via Steam, as well as Android and iOS compatible phones. If you're interested in purchasing or learning more, links are included in the description. But what about you? What do you think of Role Player? What RPG themed board games do you enjoy? If you have any questions, remarks, or opposing points of view, leave them in the comments down below. And don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and ring that bell. If you really enjoy my work, please consider funding my channel on Patreon. Until next time, farewell, fellow fanatics. Thank you again for watching. I have plenty more to share with you if you're interested. You can click up here above my head to subscribe to my channel. You can click over here on my monitor to see the most recent video that I've worked on. Or if you prefer, you can click up here to open this mysterious vault and see what video that the YouTube algorithm has picked just for you.